Content warning. Episodes of Gray Matter may contain themes and depictions of extreme mental illness, traumatic bodily harm, and death. If you aren't in the right headspace to engage with those depictions right now, maybe this episode should wait for another time. Otherwise, proceed with caution.
Hi, welcome to Gray Matter. Is this your first time? You've got to get out of here. They're on to us. Just keep smiling. Don't make any sudden moves, and I'll get you out of this in one piece. Why no, sir and or madam, we don't serve food here. You must be thinking of the Chinese buffet down the street. Well, off you go then. Take the tape. It'll explain everything. If you don't hear from me by midnight, go to the media. Blow this whole thing wide. Wait, why are you looking at me like that? Oh, it's you. Never mind all of that. It was a bit. I was pranking you. Bro, I'll take that tape back. Here, have this one instead. It's called Clean Slate, and it's a mediation on one of the most primal questions ever to run through the human mind. Who can you trust? A lover, a friend, yourself? Maybe no one. It's fun. I hope you don't get paranoid easily, though. The people watching you wouldn't like that.
Clean Slate, written and directed by Jonathan Inbody. When I was a kid, someone told me that cleanliness was close to godliness. I don't know about all that. For me, being clean was never a choice. It was a compulsion. The first time I fell in a mud puddle as a child, I scrubbed my skin so hard with soap that I bled. I couldn't help it. I just had to, even though I knew it was hurting me. There were thoughts, too, ones I couldn't get out of my mind. It would start when I would see something dirty, or sharp, or roughly textured, and soon all I could think about was how horrible it would feel on my bare skin. Broken glass, sewer water, a metal cheese grater, it didn't matter. Anytime something made me feel disgust or dread, it was all I could think about. After a traumatic mental event in college, my newly court-assigned therapist finally put a name to the thing that was haunting me: Obsessive-Compulsive disorder. From there, I had started a strict regimen of light medication and weekly therapy sessions, and as my 20s slid steadily towards my 30s, it really seemed like I was past the worst of it. But the worst only means the worst so far, and somewhere deep down I knew it was too good to last. So when new thoughts crept in at the back of my mind, when behaviors became habits, became compulsions, I knew I needed help. Dr. Engels would know what to do. He always did.
And how have things with your roommate been? Strained or...
They're fine, I guess. Garrett's messy, cluttered. I don't think he knows how much it bothers me. But, I've got that stuff under control, mostly.
And these new compulsions you're having, do you recognize them as irrational in the moment? Or only after you've gone through with them?
No, I always know, deep down, that what my brain is telling me to do doesn't make any sense, but... here's an example. Every time I shave, when I'm sitting there with the razor in my hand, I just get this feeling like I want or need to shave my head completely, like a cue ball, everything but eyebrows.
But I see you've been able to resist that one.
So far, but I'm tucking in all my shirts, wearing latex gloves anytime I'm not at work, and I keep working out, lifting weights, stuff like that. I just feel like I need to all of a sudden.
And what do you think might be triggering these compulsions?
I don't know. This is gonna sound crazy, I guess, but there's more. Worse ones. They feel different than the others. Like, they're not bubbling up from inside me, but like I don't know, like they're being placed there.
Placed? Placed by whom?
It's gonna sound ridiculous.
As long as it doesn't sound like you're a danger to yourself or to others, then it doesn't matter. I'm not here to judge you, Chris.
Okay, but it's really stupid. You know what Commander Gleam is, right?
The cleaning product?
Yeah, well, the mascot specifically. You know what he looks like?
Vaguely.
Okay, so burly guy, camouflage shirt, but like winter camo with white and blue patches. And then he's got gray cargo pants and white gloves. And he's bald. And he wears a pair of aviator sunglasses and he's got like a megaphone or something. I think he's talking to me.
In what way, Chris?
I keep having these, not blackouts exactly, more like whiteouts. I'll lose track of a couple of minutes and I'll have done something, or it started out kind of tame. I'd suddenly be mopping the floor or washing the dirty dishes Garrett left in the sink. But the other day, all of a sudden, I was pouring bleach into a gallon of milk. I don't know why. I don't know how long I was doing it or what else I did, but before every whiteout, every single one, the last thing I can remember is a Commander Gleam commercial. And that stupid fucking jingle's been stuck in my head for weeks. Clean like you mean it.
And you think there's some connection?
Yesterday I was driving home and one of those commercials came on the radio. The next thing I knew, I was standing at the cash register in a convenience store, buying sunglasses.
But the others, there were television ads.
It's everything. Television, radio, magazines, hell, even billboards. I can't so much as see an ad on a bus stop shelter without losing a couple of minutes.
So, what are you suggesting? That the company that makes Commander Gleam is trying to hurt you in some way?
I don't know. I don't know why, and I don't know what it means, but I know in my gut that it's true. There's something going on.
Chris, this is subconscious compulsive behaviors, extended fugue states, this paranoia about the commercials. The things you're describing to me are very extreme. Your previous symptoms fit very neatly into an OCD diagnosis. But these are much more typical of a schizophrenic episode or a delusional manic state.
I know, but I don't feel crazy. It doesn't feel like it's me. Where are you going?
Just over to my desk. You can keep talking.
Oh, God. You're gonna call someone, aren't you? Please, I swear I'm not dangerous.
It's okay, Chris.
Dr. Engels reached down to a potted plant sitting on his desk and picked it up. Then, in one swift motion, he whirled and threw it against the wall. What the hell?
Chris, look at it.
What are you talking about? Why did you do that?
Look.
I followed his pointing finger down to the shattered remains of the flower pot. There, in the scattered dirt and shriveled greenery, was a broken digital recorder. What's going on?
I don't have long. They'll call to ask what happened. You're not losing your mind, Chris. It's being overwritten. I don't know why. They just wanted me to monitor their progress and make sure that you were kept medicated and stable. I've overheard bits and pieces. They call it clean slate. Remember, clean slate. You've got to find... Hello. I'm with a patient right now. You'll have to... Yes. Yes, that was... I went to get my notebook and I knocked it down. It was just a mistake. No, there's no reason to... Oh. Lilac. There, now can you just... Chris, it's for you.
Hello?
Filth and crime, who's got the time? Erase your doubts when you scrub it all out. Clean like you mean it.
Suddenly, I was washing my hands. Dark red blood swirled down the drain as I scrubbed it off my knuckles and dug it out from under my fingernails. I turned off the sink and dried my hands with a paper towel, then froze. What was I doing? Where was I? I opened the bathroom door and looked out. Outside of Dr. Engel's private bathroom, his office was completely trashed. Papers were scattered everywhere, and the furniture had been overturned. Engels was sprawled out over his desk, his face bloody and his neck bent unnaturally to the side like someone had tried to twist his head off. His eyes were wide open, frozen in an expression of sheer terror. Did I do this? Why? He had never been anything but kind to me. It didn't make any sense. What could have... The jingle. I looked past my hands. My shirt was tucked in. I reached up to my face. I was wearing the aviators. I ducked back into the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. There was something else, something different, something I couldn't place. Maybe it was the way I was moving, shoulders back, chest pushed out, bare fists clenched. I felt strong, in control. Then all at once, the strength rushed out of me. I fell to my knees and grabbed the sides of my head, almost screaming from panic and disbelief. My therapist was dead. I had killed him. They had made me kill him. But who were they? Were they watching right now? I got up and ran out into the office, stray thoughts bouncing around inside my head as I grabbed my bag. I had to get out of here. I had to find out what they had done to me. What was it that Engels had said? Clean slate? I was going to need help. I was going to need my computer. It was still at work. I looked over at the clock. Fuck, my lunch break had ended 5 minutes ago. But that meant... I left Dr. Engel's office in a hurry, trying not to think about the 15 minutes I had just lost as I locked the door with his keys. His wife wouldn't come looking for him until after 5. That bought me some time. Would there be other patients today? I hung a sorry out to lunch sign on the door handle. Hopefully, that would keep out any prying eyes. I drove back to work in record time, then slipped into the elevator and took it up to our floor. It was a good day to be almost entirely anonymous. I got to my desk and packed up my laptop, then slung my bag over my shoulder. I glanced out the window and shuddered. On top of the building across the street was a Commander Gleam billboard that hadn't been there the day before. Beneath the commander's square-jawed, aviator-wearing face, his finger was pointing out towards my building, just above painted text that read, "I want you to clean like you mean it." My vision started to get cloudy and I shook my head, then turned and started walking quickly to the elevator.
Are you all right, Chris? I saw you took a long lunch.
Yeah, no, I think I'm coming down with something, Marianne. I'm gonna take the rest of the day if that's all right.
Sure. Can you just step into my office quick first? I've got to do these employee evaluations.
Can I do it another day?
That's what you said yesterday.
Okay, if it's quick.
It'll just take a minute.
What are you typing?
Just the report.
We haven't even started.
Chris, how would you say that you're doing regarding overall wellness? Any stress or... Do you feel like you're valued here? You've been showing up late looking... disheveled.
What is this about?
It's all routine. Just answer the questions.
I looked out through the half-closed blinds at the rest of the office. A man was standing over a nearby desk, talking with the woman sitting behind it. They were both looking at me. The woman looked down at her computer and her eyes widened, then she reached for her phone. What are you typing, Marianne?
Sit down, Chris. Don't make a scene.
What the hell are you talking about? I looked out through the blinds. The woman who had been on the phone was standing now, motioning to a pair of security guards that were stepping out of the elevator. What did you do? Are you one of them?
Of course I am. But who do you think they're going to believe?
She reached out and grabbed a pair of scissors, then stabbed them down into her own hand. She got up from her desk and ran out of her office, waving her bloody hand around while she screamed bloody murder.
Please, you've got to help! He attacked me!
Fuck. She set me up. Now I look like a fucking maniac with 30 witnesses who'd testify to it. Why were they doing this to me? What the hell was the point? As the security guards ran across the office, a strange calm washed over me, and for a moment it was like everything was moving in slow motion. I pushed my shoulders back, tucked in my shirt, then pulled a pair of gloves out of my pocket and put them on. I balled my gloved hands into fists and held them out in front of me, turning my hips and bending my knees as I took a boxing stance. It felt like every move I made was an echo, like I was being pulled into reflexive action without the need for conscious thought. I just knew what I had to do. The first security guard ran in through the office door. I leapt forward and kicked his leg out from under him, then grabbed his shoulders and threw him through the glass wall nearby. The other guard was on me then, pinning my arms to my sides in a bear hug. I pushed off of the floor and slammed us both back into Marianne's desk, then reached up and grabbed his wrist. I twisted his thumb and broke it, then crouched down and flipped him over my head and into the side of the small trash can next to the door. I sprang back to my feet and looked around, waiting for another attacker. Outside the office, people were running away from their desks and into the stairwells. The first security guard was screaming and writhing on the floor as blood streamed down from the shards of broken glass embedded in his arms. The other guard was clutching his broken thumb and shaking, staring up at me in terror from the floor. I crouched down next to him and pulled his hand over, then gripped his pointer finger with my free hand and looked him in the eye. Who do you work for?
Patriot Security.
Is that a real company or just your cover? What's Clean Slate?
What? I don't know. Please don't.
I count 3 more fingers, friend. How many more lies do you... How many more... My hands began to shake. I could feel the strength leaving them, leaving me. My shoulders slumped and a shiver ran up my spine. Then I looked back at the guard sitting in front of me. He was just some guy. Some terrified guy. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I didn't... Oh shit, I gotta... I ran out of the office and towards the stairwell, then down to the parking lot and into my car. As I drove away from work, heading for home, not too fast but not too slow, I tried to make sense of it all. Clean slate, Commander Gleam, Marianne. None of it made any sense. How did I know how to fight those guys? What was happening to me? By the time I got to my apartment, my mind was still spinning. I just needed to pack a bag, find a motel somewhere to hunker down in, and wait all of this out.
That you, Chris? You're home early.
Yeah, it's kind of a long story. I'm actually headed right back out the door. I've just gotta, I'll explain later.
Why am I your emergency contact at work?
I don't know, Garrett. Are you?
Did you stab someone with scissors today?
No, that's, she did it to herself. I think she was trying to make me look crazy.
Why would she do that?
I don't know. Maybe I got too close to it. Figure something out.
Too close to what?
Just, I'll explain later, okay? She was trying to provoke me, get me to lash out or something, and when I didn't, she did it herself.
What? Why?
Because she works for the same people that made me kill Dr. Engels.
You...
No, hey, they made me. I told you.
They made you? How did they make you?
With the commercials. Commander Gleam, the jingle. Whenever I hear it, it makes me do things. I know how this sounds, okay? I do, but I'm not crazy. I can get proof. Engels called it clean slate. If I can find them, I can...
Them? Who is them?
That's not... Listen, when the security guards came after me, I just knew how to fight them. I mean, full muscle memory, Jason Bourne shit. It's the commercials. There's something in them, some message or trigger, like the Manchurian Candidate.
Chris, can I just... Which do you think is more likely, honestly? That cleaning supply commercials are turning you into an assassin? Or that you're having an event? Like a mental health event?
I'm not. I swear to God, I'm not. But they're turning everyone against me, trying to make me look crazy. I just have to get out of here.
Where are you gonna go?
I don't know, just somewhere I can think. Don't answer it.
You need help, Chris.
No. They'll make me kill you too.
No one can make you do anything. Chris, mind control isn't real. It's just something in old movies. Hello?
My hand shot out and grabbed his neck, then squeezed as he gasped for breath. I lowered him to the ground and kicked the phone out of his hand. His eyes darted around in a terrified panic as he thrashed, grabbing at my hands to try and pull them away. I pressed my thumb down on his jugular. In a few seconds, he'd pass out, and by the time he woke up, I'd be gone. His panicked pulse pounded against my thumb, and somewhere in the back of my mind, a dark thought rose up. We should kill him. He would help them find us. Maybe he's even one of them. Garrett's eyes rolled back and he went limp. It wouldn't be long now, and now there wouldn't be any struggle. He was always messy anyway, always leaving clutter on the floor, dirty dishes in the sink. Who would miss him? No. I pulled my hands away from his throat and stumbled backwards into the bathroom, then turned to look at myself in the mirror. 2 icy blue eyes stared back at me. I clutched both hands to the side of my head and threw myself into the wall as horrible thoughts screamed inside my head. Kill him. Cut him up. Drown him in bleach. I whirled and smashed the mirror with my fist, then fell back against the wall and slid down to the floor as tears began to roll down my cheeks. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do any of this. I wasn't that person. I was me. As I sobbed into my bleeding hand, my panic gave way to horrified despair. Maybe I was losing my mind. None of it made any sense. Why didn't any of it make sense? Oh God, they were here. The police, or worse. No, there wasn't. It was just the police. There was no conspiracy, no mind control, just a man giving in to his sickness. My shoulders slumped and I began to sob as they broke down the door. I didn't fight back as they flipped me over, cuffed me, covered my face with a black bag. They were going to help me, and I needed their help. They walked me down the stairs and put me into a car, then drove me across town as I sat handcuffed and blindfolded in the back seat. I could feel the shards of glass stuck in my hand, feel them grinding against warm flesh as blood welled up around them. I couldn't stop thinking about how it would feel to dig them under my fingernails. No, wait. Not dig them under my fingernails. Use them to shave my head. After a 10-minute drive, the car pulled over and stopped.
Get out.
A strong hand grabbed my collar, then pulled me out of the car and onto my feet. They pushed my back, and I started to slowly walk forward, listening for any sign of where it was I had been taken. Were these the police? Was I at a precinct? Someone came up behind me and grabbed the metal chain connecting my handcuffs, then guided me into a building and down a long hallway. Suddenly, the black bag was torn away from my head, and I squinted in the bright fluorescent light. In the small, sterile room in front of me was a well-dressed man sitting on the other side of a table. Behind him was a large panel of one-way glass. What is this? An interrogation?
No. Call it market research. Do you want to sit?
Do I have a choice?
Whatever makes you comfortable, Chris. I know that your day started off on the wrong foot, so I'd like to be accommodating.
Who are you? And who's watching us?
Oh, don't mind the people behind the glass, Chris. They're just investors. As for me, you can call me Armstrong.
Where am I, Armstrong?
Where do you think you are?
Do you want my honest opinion? I think I'm probably in an interrogation room at a police station, and I think you're trying to get me to talk by acting like you're part of the conspiracy.
Now, is that what you really think, Chris? Or is that just what you want us to think you think?
I'm sick, delusional, and I want a lawyer.
We're not obligated to give you one. We're not the police.
Then who are you?
I told you before. Armstrong. I do public relations, opinion polling, corporate asset management.
What's that mean? What do you want?
You haven't figured that part out yet? Let me start at the beginning, Chris, and we'll see if you can put it all together as we go. Like I said, I do opinion polling, not just for brand awareness, but for political campaigns. All of those polls need a control group, data to measure candidates' favorability scores against. Usually we use some kind of a beloved mascot or television icon or game show host or something. And the one I use is Commander Gleam. See, the commander is perfect for that kind of polling for a few very specific reasons. One, he's got a reputation for cleanliness and purity, which tracks nicely to opinions on anti-corruption candidates. Two, he has the appearance of military experience, and almost every reliable demographic of the voting public eats that shit up. Add in that 65% of women think a confident bald man projects strength, and that commercials portray him as a white, self-reliant business owner, and you've got the perfect hypothetical candidate to poll against any incumbent you'd care to name. The problem is, people liked him too much. In every poll, Commander Gleam beat out every candidate from every party by a double-digit margin. What an absolute embarrassment. A fictional character, a mascot for a cleaning supply company, beating out senators who've worked in Washington for decades. So I got to thinking, what is it that the public likes about Commander Gleam that they dislike about their elected representatives? And then I figured it out. He's not real. The people don't want candidates with muddy voting records and complicated policy layouts. They want candidates that make them feel good. They want to pull a lever once every 4 years and pretend that whoever they voted for will fix everything. It's the appearance of competence that's important, not the messy reality of it. So I did my research, and I took my findings, and I sent them up the chain, all the way up. And the instructions I got back from my boss, that he got from his boss, and that they got from their boss were simple. If what the public wants is to vote for a mascot, we'll give them one.
That's insane.
You're one to talk. Besides, that's what people said about Reagan and Trump. Every time the American public hits a new low, all it takes is one news cycle for the bottom to drop back out again. So we got to work, paying lobbyists, bribing judges, giving generous campaign contributions to the same people who would decide our punishment if we got caught. At the same time, we funded experiments in psychological conditioning and genetic engineering. We tried to write the personality onto blank slate bodies, genetic clones, the brain-dead coma patients, but it didn't work. The Commander Gleam identity wasn't strong enough. It wouldn't stick. So we combed through every publicly available medical file in any of the major databases, looking for patients with a history of intrusive thoughts and obsessive compulsion. You see, mind control isn't really possible, but conditioning is. If we could hijack the psychological process, replace natural compulsions with some of our own design, then we wouldn't need to keep our new candidate under constant control. The disorder would do the work for us.
And you found me.
I'll tell you what, before we did, I didn't think this was going to work. We had test subjects drinking bleach, scraping off all their skin because they thought it was dirty. I mean, things were bleak. And then we found you. You had cleanliness-based compulsions, almost no support system, and regular therapy sessions where we could see if the programming was working as intended. And better yet, asexual. We needed someone who wasn't at risk of a scandal. We'll assign you a wife, of course, but we do that for gay candidates anyway.
But I don't understand. How did you even get to me in the first place?
Oh, well, we gave you the first batch of programming through infrasound a couple of years ago when you got an MRI, and then the rest was easy. We used micro-targeted ads on social media, billboards around places you typically traveled. There are more Commander Gleam ads per capita in this city than on the entire eastern seaboard. It was honestly shockingly easy. And now that the personality is starting to become dominant, it's only a matter of time until it overtakes you completely.
Why would you do this to me?
You really still don't get it? We're going to make you the president. Well, state senator first, but we'll get you there eventually. Commander-in-Chief Gleam has a nice ring to it. You'll love the White House, too. Very tidy.
I won't do it. You can't make me.
I think today proves we can. It's a nice, neat narrative we've crafted, don't you think? Former mental patient has a psychotic break, kills his therapist, attacks his boss, strangles his roommate, and then disappears into the night, never to be seen again. They'll look for you, sure, but not for that long. People will just assume you killed yourself or something.
A mascot can't be president.
A mascot can't be president yet, but it's not settled case law. Technically, under United States law, corporations are people, which means their children, mascots, are natural-born citizens. We've got judges placed as high as the Supreme Court that are willing to hear the case, and we've slipped money into enough pockets that I'm not concerned about the outcome. In a way, it's the most American idea there is. Hell, they'll probably carve you into Mount Rushmore.
But it's never gonna work.
Maybe not. But hey, it'll be a hell of a PR stunt, huh? Bring him in.
The door to the room swung open, and a man in a suit stepped inside, dragging Garrett's unconscious body. He threw him onto the table between Armstrong and I, then turned and closed the door behind him as he left. Armstrong got up from his seat and walked around behind me as he flipped through a keyring. He unlocked my handcuffs, then stepped over to the door.
A gift from me to you. Kill him. I've listened to all of your therapy sessions. I know how messy he is, how much he disgusts you. Hell, you nearly finished the job today before we even got there.
I'm not gonna do it.
You will. He's all that's left of your old life. The only thing keeping you tethered to the mediocre name of a mental patient. Think about it. What we took from you is nothing compared to what we can give you. Purity, profit, a better world that you can be the symbol of.
I'll be nothing but a symbol. Just a rubber stamp on whatever focus group bullshit that you get paid to make me vote for. What kind of a life is that?
A better one than you're living, Chris. So either cooperate and kill him, or I'll play the jingle and make you do it. The choice is yours. You'll live in a cage, the same way you always have, but I can make that cage comfortable. I can keep it clean, or I can make it very dirty. I don't really care, but I know you do. I'm going to help you change the world, Chris. And all I need you to do is let me.
He reached into his pocket and took out a pair of aviator sunglasses, then set them down on the table in front of me. As he left the room, closing the door behind him, I looked down at Garrett. He was starting to stir. I picked up the sunglasses and put them on, then placed my hands on the side of Garrett's head and got ready to twist. No strangulation this time. No popped blood vessels or burst veins to get me dirty. Armstrong was right about one thing. Whether I liked it or not, my old life was over. No more weekly therapy, no more soul-crushing job, no more messy roommate. I couldn't go back there now, and I wasn't sure I'd even miss it. I had a chance to become someone new, and all that was left was to make a clean break. Clean Slate was written and directed by Jonathan Inbody. It was edited by Jeffrey Lavin, with music composed and performed by Samantha Hunt. Chris, the narrator, was played by Oriana Quinn. Dr. Engels was played by Mark Bogumil. Marianne was played by Heather Dunham, and the security guard was played by Jay Watts. Garrett was played by Justin Pope, and Jonathan Inbody played Armstrong. Gray Matter is a Word Search Media production. Any similarities to real people, places, or things is purely coincidental. Be kind. Rewind.